Hello and welcome back to the D.G.S.R Sim Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione League race here at Barcelona. This is the second race in the weekend and it's a 30-minute long race. So let's have a look at the grid. In P1 then we have Morris followed by Titolaner in P2. In P3 we have Gabe followed by Long in P4. P5 we have Barros followed by Raiola in P6. P7 we have McElligott followed by ATM in P8. P9 we have Lerone, followed by Wilder in P10. In P11 we have Norton, followed by Joswick in P12. In P13 we have Neil, followed by LKMP in P14. In P15 we have Hale, followed by Wally in P16. P17 we have Speaking Leash, followed by Kuar in P18. P19 we have followed by Hillier in P20. P21 we have Walker, and then we start the GT4 cars with Pichon in P22. In P23 we have Swan, followed by Stevens in P24. P25 we have Muir, followed by Engel in P26. P27 we have Askham, followed by DL in P28. In P29 we have Maybom, and finally we have Daly in P30. You join me then as the leaders of this 30-minute night race at Barcelona go through the final chicane of the track here at Barcelona and approach the Catalunya turn before the start-finish straight. Morris and Del Tollenaire leading the race. Del Tollenaire winning the first race, and Morris, I think, having a few problems with the drive-through. And there we go. And across the line they go. Looks like Gabe has gone off to a very good start, getting up close and personal to De Tollenaire as they head now into turn 1. Yeah, I think Gabe's now up into P2, De Tollenaire in P3. Or he's going to go up the inside of Gabe and reclaim P2. I think that's Barros or Raiola that's also had a very good start to the race. A little bit of a tussling there. Walker with a drive-through already. He must have been in a slightly wrong position on the start line. But yeah, off to a good start at the front. So we've got De Tollenaire now up into P1. Oh, I missed that. Let's have a look. So actually quite quickly into the first few turns, De Tollenaire taking Morris and heading up into P1, so a good start for him. Gabe also having off to a good start, getting into P3 from P4 on the grid. He's going to have a little look around the outside of Morris, but he's not going to be able to get that move done just yet. Barros and Raiola also with a very good start, unfortunately for Long all the way down in P8 now, after a P3 start. So Barros and Raiola up in P4 and P5. McElligott up in P6. Having a little look around. Is that ATM? Side by side. Oh, we got an off. Who is that? Not quite sure which car that is. That might be the car of Barros. What's happened there? Let's jump first person. So he's riding behind, I think that's Gabe, as we head through turn 5, I think that is, and then into TV3. And he just hits. Yeah, so I think he was a little bit wide on the entrance to the corner, and then just can't get the car slowed down enough. Not enough traction. As Long going around the outside of turn 9, and quite a number of cars getting past him. I think that's Wilder, and is that Lerone as well? Yep, that's Lerone. As Lerone goes a little bit wide, Long goes back through behind McElligott. Oh, as Wilder has a bit of oversteer there, and is that oversteer or was that contact? Oh, that might have been contact actually. Who's behind them? Barros was behind them, so jump into. So Lerone comes back on track, and yeah, just squeezes the door a little bit on Wilder. I'm not quite sure if there was contact or whether Wilder just got a bit spooked by Lerone coming back quite suddenly onto track. Alright, very interesting. Let's jump back then to the GT4 cars. Let's see what's happening back there. So Stevens up into, I was going to say up into P1, but yeah, I think he is, yeah. So Stevens effectively P1 for the GT4 cars. He's riding behind, I think that's QR and Wally, yep. He's got Swan company. Swan has got Pichon in P3. Let's have a quick look at who's close. Muir's quite close. Daly, look, heading up the inside of Pichon. He's in a GT3 car, remember, so he's got to try and make his way through the GT4 cars as quickly as he can to catch up with the rest of the GT3s. I think Walker has he pitted already? No, he hasn't pitted. Why is he right at the back then? He must have had a bad start or something. That's unfortunate for him. Muir then catching up with, I think that's the car of Pichon, yeah, the Alpine. As they head through turn 4, Repsol. And then into turn 5. One quite close behind Pichon there. Daly we can just see in the background, just overtaking Stevens and getting ahead of the GT4 cars. And he'll be looking to track down QR. Not quite making the inroads needed to catch up with Pichon here, Muir, sorry. But he'll be looking to catch up in the next couple of laps. Right, let's jump then to, let's have a look at Wilder and Joswick. So that's Wilder, that's not Joswick in front of him, so what's happened there? Is he heading off, perhaps? Or has Joswick had a problem? Yeah, I think Joswick's behind now. I think KMP splitting them. I'm not quite sure what's happening at the back here. Maybe we'll see when they cross the line. Well, actually, there's a bit of a battle happening at the front of the grid. Gabe just overtaking Morris through. Oh, bit of contact. Let's have another look at that. So we're riding on board with Gabe heading into lap 3. And he is catching Morris. Goes up the inside into turn 1. And a bit of contact there. If we jump back 5 seconds. I think Morris just closes the door. Not quite realising that Gabe is there perhaps. And turns in a bit tight. Either that or Gabe came out a bit wide. No, it looks like he's giving him enough space. Yeah, I mean, he's right in the curb. Probably just a racing incident, but... Well, yeah, so Gabe takes P2 then. Oh, as Morris is going spinning. What's going on there? God, disastrous lap for Morris there. So he comes back on track. And... Whoa! Holy moly. Was that Raiola? Yeah, it was. So what's happening here? Raiola's coming up to the back of... Is that Gabe? So that's Gabe, who I think he lifts possibly to let Morris back on track. And Raiola taking opportunity there, goes around the outside of Gabe, but doesn't quite realise that Morris is there coming back on track and hits Morris off. Oh my god, a disastrous couple of corners for Morris, none of which was really his fault. And that gives Gabe an easy P2, and I think that gives ATM P3 at the moment. As he is also catching Gabe at this moment in time. So yeah, and then Long, I think just making the move on... He just made the move on McCalligan at some point. Must have just made it going into turn 1 perhaps. Yeah, not sure. Yeah, interesting couple of corners there. Let's jump back to Lerone, who is chasing down, I think that's Barros in front of him. And Barros, who is in turn chasing down McElligott as they head through turn number 5. Down through turn 6 and turn 7, CV3. Head through turn 11 and 12. Heading to Europe-Car turn. And then the chicane, the RACC chicane. Pretty smooth through there, but not smooth enough on exit, I don't think, to catch Barros. Barros is going to possibly overtake McElligott down into P1. Not quite got the pace to be close enough to him, but I'm not sure if he's close enough to get him under braking. He's going to have a little look, but no, not quite. It's quite wide through there. There's a wide entrance and then tight apex. McElligott just taps the grass there. I wonder if that's going to cost him any time. As we head now into Repsol. McElligott taking a tighter line. Is that going to cost him a little bit of speed on exit? Doesn't look that way. Remember, different cars, different driving styles. Both going wide on the exit of tab 5. Ooh, McElligott going a lot wider than Barros through that corner, but Barros has definitely gained speed on him as they head a little bit of brake as he heads through turn 9. Is he going to have the speed to catch him up on this little straight? He's definitely catching, but he's not making the move just yet. It's a long race. He's thinking about getting a little bit closer, I think. Back through turn 11 and turn 12. Heading up to the tricky corner that is Europe-Car. Tricky corner because of the massive sausage curb on the apex there. Oh, very smooth through there. Is he going to have the momentum to take it through into the straight? Doesn't look like it. It looks like he might have McElligott down on the second sector, but not quite catching him on the third sector enough, I don't think. Well, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this pans out. Let's jump back to Daly now. He's managed to get himself up into P18. Just taking Speaking Leash on the outside there, down the start-finish straight, being followed closely by Raiola, who had that coming together with Morris. As there, all three of them head in almost 3 wide. Raiola keeps his distance. And Daly is allowed through up into P17. And Raiola up into P16. P17 and 18, yeah, Raiola up into P18. But yeah, let's have a look at the GT4 cars then. So, let's roll the time back a little bit. So this is Pichon having a look up the inside of Stevens. Slows right down, which gives Stevens the opportunity to come attacking back. Both of these guys being followed very closly by MyBomb, who's come basically from, I think, 27, 28, something like that was his starting position. 29th, actually, sorry. Was his starting position. Which I think means we've lost someone. I think we've lost Walker. I think he might have DNF'd after his drive-through and start that was not very good. Very interesting here as these 3 drivers come very close together through turn 5. Pichon trying to make inroads on Stevens. Comes across a bit late there. Not giving My Bomb the space to overtake. Very defensive. As we head through turn 9, very important corner. Stevens with a bit of oversteer and My Bomb going quite wide. This might give Pichon the opportunity to overtake under braking. He's definitely alongside. He's going to do a lot of work to get around the outside. But he's going to do a little bit of a switch back there. Not quite making the move just yet. This is very good racing. As we head through turn 11 there, I think. Turn 12, sorry. As Pichon takes a tighter line. And we go into the chicane, all three. Oh, almost side by side with Pichon, My Bomb. As we head now into Catalunya and onto the straight. It looks like My Bomb has a bit more speed. Can he take Pichon on this straight? I think Pichon's lost a little bit of time to Stevens. That last through the chicane, I think. And yeah, My Bomb's going to go for the move. As they head now into turn 1. Yeah, he's not quite making it. Not quite making it. Oh, amazing bit of racing. Let's have a quick rundown of the grid then. So, the Tollenaire comfortably up in P1, similar to the first race, really. ATM in P2, he's managed to get past Gabe at some point in the last few laps. But he's being followed relatively closely by Gabe in P3. Long, who is catching back up with the leaders in P4. A few seconds behind them, McKelliger, who's still battling with Barros and Lerone, keeping them behind. Barros in P6, Lerone in P7. Quite a big jump then from them to LKMP. He's riding in P18, just going through the chicane now. He's got Hale for company, very close behind him. Not far behind them, we've got Norton riding in P10. A little way behind Norton, we have Neil, followed by in P12, and Wally in P13. Wally in P14. He's just been overtaken, I think, by Joswick, who's now in P13. Wally in P14. Viola in P15. He's making inroads. Hillier in P16. Daly up into P17, where he's been since we last saw. He's been overtaken by Viola since the last time we saw him. Speaking Leash in P18, followed quite closely by Kuyat. And that, with the exception of Wilder, who I think has just come out of the pits, he must have had a problem. Yeah, he was in the pits. What happened there? So we have a quick look if we can find what happened to him. So here he's riding in P9. Oh dear. So riding P9. Ooh. Okay, what's happened here? So he's on the back of, I think that's Neil. Yeah, triple ones. And we head into turn 5 there, TV3. Neil having a bit of oversteer. Heading into turn 9 before the straight. A little bit of a lift. He has a... Oh, there we go. So it was a crash with... Is that Neil? Yeah, so crash with Neil. So Neil has some oversteer coming out of turn 9. And can't quite keep the car. So oversteer there. He tries to correct and then goes the other way and hits Wilder. Unfortunately, that's put Wilder with enough damage to go into the pits. That's unfortunate for him. So, yeah, Joseph P12, Wally P13, Viola P14, QR P19, speaking of P18. Alright, let's double look at the GT4 cars. There's Stevens in P1 still. My Bomb now up into P2, so he's managed to get past Pichon. I might be interested to see that move. Oh, it's already happened. It's a typical thing where I move away from a battle. Oh, Pichon! Big snap of oversteer and has to adjust. Make sure he stays on the track, and that just gives My Bomb the opportunity to come sailing past. He did not give that place up easily though. He was having a quick look through turn for Europe car 13. So yeah, Stevens still holding P1 or P20 for the GT4 cars. Pichon, My Bomb, sorry, now into P2 or P21. followed quite closely by Pichon in P22. Good chunk of time behind them. Muir back in P23, or P4 effectively, followed by Askham, who looks like he's having... Is that Engel for company? Oh no, it looks like Engel's just taken Askham actually. Sorry, my apologies. Let's have a quick look at that. So, coming out turn 9, down to the straight. And go through turn 10. Turn 11. Putting a lot of pressure on. Goes on the inside through turn 13, and then turn 12 and turn 13, and then they go almost side by side. Manages to get in front for the chicane. So yeah, that's Engel then in P24, Askham in P25, and then DL in P26. Looks to be being overtaken by de Tollenaire, I think. And then we've got Wilder right at the back after his pit stop for damage. Let's have a quick look then. What's happening around? Let's have a quick look at Raiola and Wally. Raiola making his way back up the field after having that incident with Morris. Who I think actually, looking at it, I think Morris has DNF'd. Decided not to continue. Oh, his DL taken off there, I think. So Raiola looking to make a move on Wally at some point. Probably this lap. I don't think he's quite close enough to do it into turn 1. Or maybe he is, I'm not sure. No, not quite. Brakes early to make sure he doesn't hit. Heading to Repsol, turn 4. Raiola coming up quite close. Deciding the best way to go an outside line through turn 5. Not quite getting anything to stick just yet. Just losing him down the straight there. Let's have a quick look then. Is there anyone else? Let's have a look at the front actually. Long looks like he's making some inroads on ATM for P3. Actually, ATM's not far behind Gabe, to be honest. So quite a battle here for P2 and P3. Let's have a look at ATM. He is applying some pressure onto Gabe here. Gabe, I think, must have overtaken him at some point. Last race or two, and then ATM is coming back. As we head into turn 4, he's going to go try and get around the outside, not quite have the line. Gabe keeps it. They go side by side out of turn 4 and down into turn 5. Gabe's still in the lead. This tussling is going to be great for long. He's just going to keep out of trouble until the tussle is over. So this is the important corner around turn 9. If you get a good exit out of turn 9, you can easily overtake on the straight. Let's jump first person. Looks like Gabe's got a better exit than ATM. And Long then getting up close and personal with ATM, having a better... I'm not sure whether he had a better corner of turn 10 or whether he had a better straight, I'm not sure. But Long now applying the pressure to ATM. which is going to potentially let Gabe get away. Ooh. As he hits the bit of the sausage curve, going to lose him some time into the straight. Yeah, and that's going to give ATM the opportunity to come fast. Got to deal with some GT4 traffic now, so I think that's ATM coming up on the car of Askham. The Aston Martin there. Which is going to give him a slightly odd line through turn 1. Oh, as Long goes up the inside through turn 2. Not quite having the line through turn 3 to be able to stay ahead, but he's getting very close to the back of ATM. Has a little look up the inside. It's not going to be quite enough. As they exit turn 4, Repsol are going to be greeted with some GT4 traffic of Muir. As they go through... Ooh, that's an unfortunate place to come up on a GT4 car and then exit of a corner. Long's going to have a bit of a better time of it, being able to overtake on the straight rather than through the corner. And again, this corner is going to be the important one. A little slow, I think. A little slower than it could have been. We might have been cautious of the GT4 car behind him. Excuse me. Always, ATM goes wide on the turn 10. He tries to come back and keep his position, but Long's going to easily take up that place. So that puts Long into P3 then. But yeah, that little battle between the two of them has put Gabe 2 seconds ahead, 2 to 3 seconds ahead. So Long's got some work to do now to get away from ATM and catching Gabe. Right, let's have a look at Hilly then. Down on P16, he is catching the car, the Nissan of... that looks like... Is that Wilder ahead of them as well? That's possibly a GT4 car, actually, I'm not sure. So that's definitely an Aston Martin car ahead of him. That could be the car of Wilder that's a lap behind, I think, at this point. Yeah, that's the car of Wilder, who is on the back of the GT.R of... excuse me, of He's going to unlap himself from her. That's going to give Hillier the opportunity, hopefully, to catch up with her to battle for P15. Yeah. Where shall we have a look? Let's have a jump to... Oh! That was a well-timed jump. So, we've got Mybom catching Stevens. And then, I think that's De Tollenaire in front. And De Tollenaire and Stevens come together. What's happened there? Let's have a look. So, De Tollenaire's coming up on the inside. Makes a little bit of a late move. Goes over the... Yeah, that's a bit of an odd one. It's quite difficult to see from this camera angle. Right, so Stevens is aware of him. De Tollenaire takes a very strange line over the bump and doesn't quite have enough, outbrakes himself. So Stevens has to go into the back of him. That's giving Gabe the lead, and Long's overtaken. Oh my god, what a palaver. Let's have a quick look at this. So De Tollenaire comes in, gets hit by Stevens, although it's not really Stevens' fault. Stevens has to go round one side. I think 584, I think that's my bomb going around the other side. Gabe comes flying past. Long goes round outside to avoid it. Pichon and I think that's ATM come down through the middle. So, bit of a mix up there. So, I think Gabe now is in P1, sorry. Followed by Long in P2. So Gabe in P1, followed by Long in P2. Oh, as they go side by side, Long and ATM through the chicane. Long manages to stay ahead. And De Tollenaire behind. So Gabe in P1 now. Tolinaire is not in P2. I think Long is in P2. Followed by ATM. Long going round Stevens, I think. GT4 cars. Oh, huge! Huge send by ATM there. What happened there? He just braked mega late there. What happened? Missed his braking point. Sort of manages to somehow avoid Long. I'm not quite sure how that happened. And Long is... Woof, blimey. I thought it was just like a mega send, but I think he just missed his braking point. Huge! Huge! Flying past. Blimey. Right, so Gabe, P1. Long P2, and then I think De La Tolinaire is in P3, so regaining a podium. But it's put McElligott up into P4 now, and Lerone up into P5, so I'll be happy with that. ATM now down into P7, dealing with this GT4 traffic. Let's have a look at the GT4s, because all of this traffic has bunched them right up. So we've got Pichon, Maibom, and Stevens, I think the top three from the last race, all in very close racing with each other as Stevens goes a little wide through there. That's going to give Maibom the opportunity to take him around the outside of turn 9. Backs off a little bit to get a better exit. And he's going to look up the outside of Stevens as they head into turn 10. He's got a lot of work to do as Pichon has a little look up the inside of both of them as they head into turn 11. Blimey, what a great race between these three. So Stevens still retaining P1, but Pichon and Maibom going back and forth for P2 and P3. Great racing there. As I think Pichon is catching Stevens, but also has to deal with Maibom behind him. As they head through Catalunya. Oh, as I think, is that the car of ATM pitting? Oh no, the damage must have been too much and he's pitted. That's unfortunate for him. Oh, there we go. Let's have a look let's have a little look at the midfield, where we've got the cars of we're running on board with Raiola at the moment, who's catching Neil. Raiola, remembering having that big crash with Morris quite early in the race, and has been catching up through the pack all the way through. So I think that's Neil and LKMP. As Raiola goes round, tries to go around the outside of Neil. Is he going to make it stick? Not quite. Is he going to be close enough to make a move through Repsol? I don't think he is. We've got a little bit of GT4 traffic with Askham. This is going to give Raiola the opportunity to dive up the inside. As they go almost 3 wide. Oh, I think coming out of that corner, Neil got a little bit spooked and ran wide, which is going to give Raiola the position. And there we go, Raiola up into P11. Quite close behind them, they've got Wally as well, although he's just coming up in the car of Askham. It's quite a good place to catch a GT4 car here, because when you go around this corner, lifting a little bit more than usual to ensure they're not going into the back of them, but then putting on the power down the straight and just going to be able to drive straight past. Have a little look whether he can get past Muir. Not quite. Keeping it clean. Yeah. Let's have another quick look at the grid then, as Gabe just overtakes, I think, DL. GT4 car. So Gabe now in P1 after I think a P3 start and a lot of drama happening at the front. 5 seconds behind him and a lot of work to do is Long in P2. 1.5 seconds behind him, De Tolinaire managing to retain a podium despite the problems it's been having. McElligott riding a very good race up in P4, although he's got Lerone for very close company at the moment. We'll jump back at that after we go through the grid. Barros in P6, Hale in P7. He seems to be pretty much alone at the moment. Joswick in P8, having a better race than he had in the first one. Norton in P9. Raiola now up into P10. Doing a stellar job catching up with the pack. Neil in P11. LKMP in P12. Wally in P13. Hillier also doing quite well up into P15. In P15. QR in P16. Speaking Leash in P17. ATM all the way down in P18 after his crash and pit stop for damage. Still ahead though of the GT4 cars in P19. So we've got Stevens in what is effectively P1 for the GT4 cars. My Bomb now back up into P2 after a very close battle between him and Pichon who's currently in P3. P4 is Muir, also was riding quite a close race with Askham, but Askham now had quite a big gap between the two of them now, up down into P5. Engel in P24. P25 we have the GT3 car of Wilder, who's just trying to unlap himself through the GT4 cars, so he's got to make his way through the GT4 cars before the end of this race to try and get back up into sort of proper GT3 standings. And then finally we've got DL in P26 at the moment. We've had quite a few races drop now. I think we've lost Morris, I think. We've lost Walker. We might have lost another one. I'm not quite sure who. We'll have a look at that at the end of the race. So jump back up to... Oh! It looks like Lerone has made the move on McElligott. Let's roll the tapes back and have a look at that. I said that was a close race, so here we go. So Lerone, beginning of lap 15, Lerone gets a very good exit out of Catalunya, and he's going to be looking up the inside of McElligott. McElligott not moving to much of a defensive line, and yeah, just under braking, very smooth. And that is Lerone up into P4 behind the Tolinaire. Let's jump to Norton and Joswick. Quite a pack forming here actually. Behind, I think that's Hale. So that's Hale just overtaking a GT4 car, but he's also got Joswick for company. Trying to negotiate. Ooh, as Joswick gets a hit. What was that? Oh, blimey. Who was that? Was that Raiola? So, it's Raiola. He's coming up on Norton and Pichon. Brakes very late, misses Norton, and then goes onto the gravel and hits Joswick. And then also hits Pichon as well. So Raiola, second incident of the race. I think this is the penultimate round. Or is this the last lap, or is that... I'm not quite sure what's happening there. No, I think that was the penultimate lap. Because they're still driving. Yeah, they're still driving, so... He just brakes too late with the whole pack. There's GT4s and GT3s all involved. Tries to avoid any collision, but unfortunately hits Joswick and costs him a few places as well as himself. So then let's have a look at Gabe then, who is coming round. I think this is the last lap. Not quite sure. Oh no, it's not. Ignore me. For some reason the thing didn't want to tell me how many laps there was left. So I got a few laps left. So McElligott and Lerone still fighting. Let's jump down to Mybom and Stevens, who are still battling. Unfortunately, Pichon has been taken out of this race by a GT3 car, as Joswick just cuts in front of Stevens there, and Mybom. Mybom very close behind Stevens as they go through turn 9. Whoever gets the better exit out of this could be in the lead. As Mybom goes down the outside. But he's not going to be able to get past Stevens, I don't think, on the outside. He's going to go for the little switcheroo. Stevens has a snap of oversteer. They managed not to come together. And My Bomb's going to use that opportunity to take the lead going through turns 11 and 12. Stevens is not giving up without a fight. And as they head into turn 13... Oh, dear. Blimey, what a race. What is happening? So that is the GT3 car of I think, oh dear, I lost it. So it's the GT3 car of I think Neil. Jump ahead a little bit. So Neil catches up down the straight between turns 9 and 10. You can see they're going side by side through turn 10. He's got to slow right down. Snap of oversteer from Stevens there as they head through turn 11 and 12. This is where Neil pushes past Stevens, or at least he tries. GT4 cars, they get 3 wide pretty much. And what happens there? Doesn't quite slow down in time, and yeah, not going to realise that. Let's have a look at that from My Bomb's point of view. Yeah, I mean, he's not going to know that that car's there because he's got Stevens in between them, and he gives enough room, I think, for Stevens, but he's not realising that Neil's coming up, and that's going to knock him out, which is going to give Pichon the position, and I think that means Stevens up into P1 for the GT4s. Pichon now in P2. Blimey, what a race for these GT4s. They've got to negotiate so many GT3 cars doing weird stuff around them. Yeah, there we go. Blimey, what a race. Let's jump up then to Norton, who's riding fairly close behind Hale. This goes quite wide there through into turn 4. Takes a tight line on entrance. They're coming up to the back marker of DL. DL going very wide there to avoid any problems. Lift down the straight they go. It looked pretty smooth for Norton, but looks like Hale had an even better exit. So they head through turn 10, turn 11, turn 12, turn 12 being quite a weird, tricky corner. Head through the chicane, RACC chicane, and into the straight. Looks like Hale got a much better exit. It goes quite wide. Almost looked like he hit the gravel there. But he's sailing down the straight. And Norton is not going to be able to make this overtake this turn. Let's jump back to Hillier, who has been overtaken since the last time we looked at him by and he's now trying to negotiate through the GT4 cars of Maybom. And then Pichon and Stevens up there in P19, P18. And then I think is that Suya coming up the inside? What's happening here? So Hillier's coming up. Brakes fairly early. Has a car on his inside. Not quite sure who that is. Who's that white and red? Oh, is that Wilder? Is that Wilder? No, that wasn't Wilder. Pichon. Trying to work out what's going on in this straight. It's difficult in the car in the dark sometimes. Oh, so I think that's he was actually behind Hillier. Hillier sort of over brakes himself. Oh, might have had a snap of lag there. He's donked from behind by Maybum. And I think is up into P13 again. And Hillier is down on P14. And Kuya not far behind them. Yeah, interesting race. Let's jump to the race between Pichon and Stevens, as that's still quite a close battle going on. Pichon having that problem with Raiola hitting him. Raiola, who I think we've now lost in this race as well. Lots of DNFs this race. Was not a good race for a lot of people. Ooh, very wide through there for Pichon. Hitting the gravel is going to cost him a lot of time as the GT3 cars all come flying past. That's going to give Maybom the opportunity to catch up, which he does. And there we go, another traffic train of mixture of GT4 cars and GT3 cars. So another quick rundown. Actually, let's jump to Norton, who's still close. Oh, I was about to say he's still close behind Hale, but I think that is the end of the race. Let's have a quick look at Gabe come across the line, as we didn't get to see that. There we go, Gabe crossing the line in P number 1. All right. So let's have a look at the provisional results. Very interesting race there. Lots happened. So provisional results long in P1. Hang on, what? Okay, it comes round. Comes across the line. We look at the provisional results. Long in P1. That might just be a problem where... let me just double check. That might be an issue with... Yeah. That might be just where when the replay ends, this was the results, but Gabe just left a little bit early. But I think, yeah, Gabe was P1, followed by Long in P2. The Tollenaire in P3, Larone in P4, very good race for him. McCallagher in P5, Barros in P6, Hale in P7, Norton in P8, Joswick in P9, LKMP in P10, Neil in P11, Wally in P12, in P13, CR, I'm so sorry. Kuya, there we go. In P14, Hillier in P15, Speaking English in P17, ATM after that crash down in P17, and then the GT4 cars. So in P18 or P1 for the GT4 cars was Stevens. In P18, P19/P2 was Pichon. And in P20/P3 was Maybom. Very good race between the three of them there. Very commendable. Unfortunately, Wilder down in P20 after having that problem near the beginning and not being able to catch up through the pack. Did very well, though, to unlap himself through some of the GT4 cars. So P21, Wilder. P22, also P4 in the GT4 cars was Muir. In P23 was Askham. P24 Engel. P25 DL. And I think we lost a few along the way. We lost Walker, I think. Walker. Daly, we lost. Morris, we lost. And yeah, so a few DNFs there. All right. Well, that was a bit of a mess of a race. There was a lot going on in that race. I had a few problems in that race as well, so apologies for that. But thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed these two races in Barcelona. and we will see you next week. Where will we see you? We will see you in South Africa, in Kyalami. So thank you all for watching and listening, and goodbye.